First scene. Sooner or later, you're going to have to poop in the toilet. Takes place in a nursery where a 70-year-old grandmother speaks to her infant's grandson. Second scene, circular search. Takes place in front of a retirement home as the residents return from their evening meal. Final scene, my next last chapter, is set in the bedroom of a 105-year-old woman who's propped up with pillows. Baby, beautiful, beautiful baby. Today you are perfect, but it will never last. You're so cute, people won't be able to say no to you. Then you'll become a spoiled brat. And when things don't go your way, you'll cry till you're blue in the face. See where that gets you. But if you follow my advice, you're going to be okay. No, don't cry. I'm telling you, everything's going to be okay. Shh. You stopped crying. See, your Grammy makes it all better. But I need to tell you something. Bless your little heart. Suppose when you grow into a big boy, you end up with your grandpa's ears or my ginormous nose. No, it's okay. I'm telling you, there's always a way out. For $1 million, a plastic surgeon can fix your entire face. People will lie and tell you, you look marvelous. What they really mean is, you turned out all doughy and lumpy, and oh yeah, your face looks like a gigantic rubber band. If by chance you're kind of dopey, guess what? You can always be the class clown. Hone the skill. And when you grow up, you'll be the lead act at a comedy club. You can make anything come out just fine. Example, you want to be tall? Go for it. Use stilts, the collapsible kind, small enough to fit in a briefcase. See, like I said, there's always a way. Oh, there now, no. Baby, come on. There. A clever person once offered this advice. To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day that you shall be false to no man. However, honest behavior won't necessarily stop others from duping you. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. That's fancy talk for saying, listen to others through your ears. Get it? But you'll do best if you close your mouth, lest you put your foot in it. Don't fret. I know how you bring your little feet up to your tiny mouth and suck on your toes. For now, that's okay. But don't make a habit of it, especially in public. Give your thoughts no tongue, especially when your mother, or your boss for that matter, scolds you. Little man, it boils down to this. When in doubt, shut up. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar, and no cursing when your teacher is near. Listen to others who criticize you and reserve judgment of them, at least till they leave the room. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry, a fancy phrase to make you a good husband. And if you do lend money, you'll wind up hating the person who owes you. And if you borrow money, beware when the guy comes after you for payback, especially when he points a gun at your head. You'll wind up on your knees, begging for mercy. Those friends you have, grapple them to your soul with hoops of steel. Choose your friends wisely. You don't want to fight with anyone, especially when they're right. Or when they have a gun. Mr. Baby, now that you've calmed down, you should forget everything I just said. Even if Grammy tells you everything's going to be okay, doesn't mean it's true. I just want to make you feel better since you got yourself into this mess by being born. Here's the real deal. Your sports team will win or lose no matter how loud you cheer. Sorry about that. You'll fall in love. She or he, if that be the case, may not love you back. Sorry. You can always save yourself the hassle by becoming a monk, but you'll need to remain celibate. Sorry. And now for the kicker. When you get old, you'll ultimately die, no matter how many hours you've worked out. Sorry about that. Bottom line, you have no control over anything. Uh-oh, gotta change you, baby. Speaking of control, baby, that reminds me, I gotta tell you the worst news of all. Sooner or later, baby, you're gonna have to poop in the toilet. Sorry about that. Oh. I started out life as a triangle, but I must have been dropped or flattened because underneath my obvious frame lurked a misshapen square. In the early years, I was trained in triangulation. This was a desperate attempt by my disheartened creators to fix me. They, the birthers, didn't even know how to straighten an unbroken line. How were they going to mend me? I couldn't get around my ultimate deformity. I was a disfigured square with a triangular body, totally out of sync with any of the others, even the outliers, like the trapezoids, the rhombuses, and of course, the cylindrical types. I wasn't angular enough to be a triangle, and I had too many points to be a square. I worked incessantly to smooth out my corners, trying to adopt a curvy facade. My compassionate mentors urged me to quit aiming so high. Sympathetic to my quest for a comfortable belongingness, they encouraged me to consider alternative pursuits. There's nothing wrong with being an oval, they said. For a while, I squeezed into a rectangular formation and tried to absorb the convictions to which rectangles adhere. But in the end, as much as I longed to squash myself into an acceptable mold, I just couldn't compromise on their dogmatic notions, on their discriminatory practices, and on their unearned sense of superiority. I refused to embrace any of their decorative distortions. Yet, I could see that square things function nicely when paired with their own kind. They wedge together, and given their mutual sharp edges and spikes, they cuddle well. Like glue, they leave no spaces to accommodate reconsideration. But if you're rounding out the fringes, your borders would never synchronize with squares. You'll leave contorted distances between each other, with no way to fill the gap, like an incomplete puzzle. Unless, of course, you become a chameleon, something I could never force myself to be. I tried to endorse their shapely ways. If only I had learned to pervert the counterpoints of my beliefs. If only I could curtail my devotion to authenticity. Instead, I continued to get into trouble with the other forms who mistook my teary assertions of truth as anger, my joy as judgment, and my triumphs as threats. I gave up on the circular search. Finally, the ring-shaped sphere of life has now retreated from my free-spoken spirit. I'm on my way out of this roundabout life. I've revisited familiar places for the last time. Nobody's watching anymore. Then again, was anyone ever watching in the first place? Oh. My family hovers over my bedside, I sleep like a puppy with one ear propped up. In my case, it's one eye. On my wall is a poster from way back when. Reminders to myself. Face it, you have no control over anything. The pity party is over. I hear my kids, grandkids, and greats standing around talking about me. She made it to 105 like she said she would. That was my 85-year-old son. His 80-year-old younger sister interjects. It's because 40 years ago today, on her 65th birthday, she pledged to, what did she? They were all talking at once. One voice, however, rose above the rest. Hard to make out the list from 40 years ago. Hardly legible. Paul, your young eyes can read. Go ahead. Play chess every day. Laugh my guts out every hour. Let everyone else do the showing off. Stop serving others just because they expect it. Let go of people who justify white lies. Hang out with folks who tell it like it is. One of the kids asked, there's more? Of course there's more, says Carly, my oldest granddaughter. She has the same birthday as I do. Today she's 65, a mere baby. Like a circus MC with her megaphone, she announces, get rid of every piece of junk I labeled a necessity or memento. Allow myself to bask in simplicity. Carly's daughter, only 40 years old so far, a real spitfire, blurts out more of my poster. Don't kiss up to anyone to win the popularity prize. Avoid exhausting trips to the mirror. Forget it. You can't squeeze into another person's mold. Want to know Grammy's favorite rule? My youngest great-grandchild giggles. Everyone perks up. She's so cute and tiny for a senior in high school. Embarrass myself once a day. Then what I'm afraid of is going to happen won't, because it already did. Out of my squinting eye, I couldn't tell who spoke next. Remember when she retired and we asked her what she planned to do with more free time? She threw up her arms and bellowed, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do what I want to do. When you're old, you cut out the middleman. Who's watching? Who cares? The young ones huddle around me and stare like I'm already dead. They don't see it coming. I open both my eyes wide as if I overslept and the alarm clock just rang. I pop out of bed and start to tap dance, shuffling and stamping the way I used to as a kid. I bop up and down to their gasping. They all hoot and holler together. Grammy, be careful. Why, I retort. Oh, because I see them frowning, meditating, searching for answers. But they can't think of any reason I shouldn't be doing a jig. Finally, they're starting to get the point.